Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Jesse Lee Show.
Hey, it's me, Jesse Lee, and thank you so much for pressing play on this podcast, our weekly hangout where we get together and talk about all the big stories in rock and metal and beyond throughout the week. This is where I read your questions, your reactions, your hot takes, opinions, whatever. And then I react to them, maybe roast them a little bit. I try to be nice. I try to be super nice. If you want to be a part of next week's episode, please make sure to drop a comment, question, whatever, in the comment section right here on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening at. And also, do not forget to bang your head on that follow button, all right? Follow, subscribe. That's how you become an official, full-fledged member of the Jesse Legion. And I know that's something that you want. I know that's what we all want deep down. Starting off, Bad Omens released a brand new song called Left for Good. Mike Rich on Instagram said, glad this one is heavier and has a longer breakdown with fun callouts. Probably will be put second out of the singles behind Spectre. Yeah, this song is definitely about a heavier track for Bad Omens fans. It's a good one for a lot of the fans who have been complaining, whining a little bit, if you will, that they miss the heavier Bad Omens sound. Now, I'm sure this song isn't going to be heavy enough for some fans. I mean, if you are looking for something more along the lines of Dethrone, like some older Bad Omens, yeah, no, this is not going to scratch you where you itch. But it does have enough heavy parts. I think it appeals to both sides of the fan spectrum, of the fan specter, if you will. I really thought Noah was going to bark in this one, too, because we got this breakdown that kind of reminds me of the song Van with Poppy, where he barks. And I thought he was going to go full dog on this one. Full big bad dog Noah, but we didn't get that. The music video is pretty cool, too. It's another one where we don't get to see the band. The band's not featured in it at all, but we do get a jacked Jesus in the music video, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure what his connection is to the band or how he relates to the whole storyline and plot arc of these singles that we've been getting. Speaking of, this is now the fourth single that we've gotten from Bad Omens. I know the band is planning on releasing an album at some point. They've said they're not going to rush it. They're not setting any dates. They're not setting any expectations. So we don't know when that album is coming out. But this does now make the fourth single that we've gotten from this band. We've got Spectre, Dying to Love, Impose, and now this one, Left for Good. So we're starting to teeter in that line where fans usually start getting a little annoyed. Some fans start getting angry when bands release too many singles before the album comes out. They don't want to spoil it. They want to be surprised on album release day. And we dived into this on the last episode of the podcast I did with The Devil Wears Prada, because that is a band that released, I think, 6 or 7 singles before they dropped their new album, Flowers. And they got a lot of, pushback from fans, a lot of criticism for releasing so many singles. And I do see both sides of it. It's like when I was talking to Johnny from Bill Murray on the podcast, and he said he didn't want to release too many singles before the album came out, because it's almost like opening all your Christmas presents before Christmas. And I do get that. I get like wanting to be surprised on release day. But then, like Mike from the Devil Wears Prada was saying, if you don't want to hear the singles before the album, don't listen to the singles before the album drops. No one's forcing you to listen to these songs before the album drops. And it is such a funny complaint for fans to have, like, oh no, you're giving us too much good music. There's too much good. We need to hold back some of this good music. Oh, my wallet's too full of money. Oh, my pants are too tight. Like, whatever. But again, I see both sides of the complaint spectrum. For me, I don't mind. I like getting a bunch of singles. I'm not opposed to it. I enjoy getting to get a steady flow of new music from bands I like. I actually enjoy that. But let me know if you are down with this being the fourth single from the band with still no album in sight, it looks like. And how do you feel about this new track from Bad Omens? Do you like this? Do you think this is heavy enough? Does it scratch you where you itch? Does it fluff your heavy pillows where you want? Ooh, heavy pillows. Brendan Peach asked, how do we feel about AI being a huge part of music in the future? An AI country song hit #1 on some chart, and it makes me wonder if it's just the start. Are musicians going to give up? Yeah, so this song by this country, I'm not even calling him an artist, this country robot called Breaking Rust. The song's called Walk the Walk, landed on #1 on some country Billboard charts. And this is something that's easy for rock and metal fans to sort of ignore and not really look into too much or pay attention to too much, because it's country music. Like, what do I care? I don't listen to country. But of course, that it's not going to be limited to country. We've already seen many AI-generated rock and metal songs dominating Spotify charts. I just did a whole story about this last month about Holy Absence calls out this band Bleeding Verse because Bleeding Verse is trained on Holy Absence and Dayseeker and bands of that genre. And then all of a sudden, Bleeding Verse blows up and has more streams than Holy Absence. So it's only a matter of time before AI-generated rock and metal songs are also topping the Billboard charts. And I've talked about this many times. I do not support AI-generated music. I'm not down with AI-generated music. I think it's really bad for the artist. I think it's a bad overall listening experience. I mean, we can get into that another time. But no, I'm not in support of AI-generated music. I do understand that, this is going to be a lot of okay boomer comments coming at me now before saying this, but I do understand that it is something that's not going to go away. I'm not saying we have to lay down, accept it, and just not talk back against it or fight it against it, but it is something that's not going to go away. AI is not going to go away. AI music, unfortunately, is not going to go away. So we do need to figure out a way to somehow work with it in similar realms of how we've found a way to use auto-tune to help enhance music. I'm not even opposed to AI enhancing music. I just don't think it shouldn't be the total creation point. I don't think anybody should be able to create an entire song without having any musical ability whatsoever and using other people's work to make it happen. I don't know. I'm just not on board with it. Who is cool with it is Kid Rock. Kid Rock was on this science and technology channel, Core Memory, and then he used they used AI to create a song, and they asked Kid Rock what he thought of it, and said it was average, it was okay. But then he goes on and kind of offer his stance on AI, and he said, for the songwriters, he feels for them. He doesn't know how it's going to work out for songwriters, and he says there needs to be some kind of legislation in place for that, and maybe for the artists too. He said he's not against it, but he doesn't think we need to be unreasonable about something we can't stop. And that part I will agree with Kid Rock. Yeah, of course, like I said, it's not something that's going to go away. It's not something we can completely stop. So we do have to figure out a way to somehow work with it. I mean, of course, labeling these songs as AI generated is a big step. I think we definitely need to be labeling artists and songs as AI generated. I think we should go a step further. If you've trained an artist on an AI, if you've trained an AI model on a band and released a song on it, you should have to put on who the bands are that you trained it on. Who were the inspirations? Whose data did you scrape? When it has a Bleeding Verse, you release a song, and then when you release a song with the collaborator, it has a collaborator name on there as well. It should say Bleeding Verse, Holy Absence, Dayseeker. I think that would be a great way to link it to the actual artists that are helping create this music for you. And then Kid Rock goes on to say, my attitude personally is that, if 100,000 people want to be out there writing songs with my intellectual property, whatever, my voice, go for it. I hope somebody nails one. If you nail one, I'll give you a piece of it because I get to sing it live, because I get to sing that live, and we make the majority of our money at the gate. I don't know what he thinks happens with AI when they make a song using your stuff. I mean, it's not like you have to approve it. Like, what does he mean? I don't understand what Kid Rock means when he says, I'll give you a piece of it. You have no control over it, man. Once somebody uses AI to create a song modeled after you, you have no control. You have no way to stop that. You can't take that down. You can't give them a piece of it. They're just gonna take your shit and make money off it. I guess you could sing their song live. That'd be a pretty cool flex. If somebody did AI generate Kid Rock music and it started getting popular, and then Kid Rock just started covering it at shows, and then people wanted to go see. If people actually wanted to see that song live, they'd have to go see the actual Kid Rock play it live. That's a smart move, Kid Rock. Maybe you're onto something there. He also says, now I know what's going to happen is half the country are going to write songs that are great, and then the other half are going to say Kid Rock wants to blow Joe Biden. And you know what? Stuff like that, I'll laugh at that too. There's probably going to be some funny stuff out there. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be songs where they say you want to do some nefarious things, and I mean, they're going to make AI images of you being cut in half and all kinds of wild things. So, I mean, again, we got to figure out some kind of system here for AI music. Colin said, I never thought I'd see a comment section with multiple people asking who Jack White is. Yeah, the NFL announced their halftime show performers for Thanksgiving Day, And if you're not from the US, if you're not from America, Thanksgiving is a day where us Americans get together and just eat the weirdest shit possible in the largest quantities possible. I mean, we're eating jars of cranberry sauce for the first time all year long. There's a turkey spread eagle on the table right there, or spread turkey, I guess. And that does sound hot, but it's dry as hell, I promise. The performers are listed as Jack White will perform at the Lions and Packers game. Post Malone will perform at the Cowboys and Chiefs game. Little John will perform at the Ravens and Bengals game. And I posted about this, and everyone's asking, who's Jack White? Jack White, who? And I know a lot of times when I post stuff, people will comment, who, as a way to just be a dick, basically. They know who it is, but they're saying it because they're just being jerks, just being jerks in the comment section. But it did seem like a lot of people were super serious about this. It was super serial that they did not know who Jack White was, which was weird because this was posted on my account, which is, for the most part, a rock, metal-oriented music account. It's not like this was on the NFL's page or anything like that. So the fact that so many people that follow me, or at least familiar with my content, didn't know who Jack White was pretty wild. And it is ironic, too, because if you've been to any football game in the last, 20 years, you've heard Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes, which I know is not a Jack White song, it's a White Stripes song, but I feel like if you know who the White Stripes are, you got to be somewhat familiar with Jack White, right? And also, he was just inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2 weeks ago. So you'd think he'd be at least somewhat out there in the pop culture zeitgeist, if you will. You think people would be more familiar with it. I'm surprised. I was just surprised that many people did not know who Jack White was. But it doesn't matter who plays the Thanksgiving Day halftime show, because no one is going to be able to hold a candle to Creed. All right, Creed set the bar so unbelievably high back in 2001. No one will ever be able to compete with it. Everyone will try. Everyone gets out there and tries to put on a great show, and I'm sure they do. They do their best, and it sounds great. It looks great, but it will never be as good as the greatest halftime show ever on Thanksgiving Day 2001 with Creed, Dallas Cowboys, some other football team probably. I don't know who would play. It doesn't matter, okay? This wasn't just a halftime show. This is where we peaked as a society. If you haven't watched it in a long time, if you have not seen the clip of that halftime show, go check it out on YouTube. It's not really, I don't think there's any official versions of it out there. You got to watch some bootleg recordings of it. And I feel like that even adds to it. That even makes it even better. Blake Betterhausen asked, I feel like this is a lukewarm take, but Motionless in White teasing a song scheduled to drop over 2 months away from now isn't very exciting. Yeah, Motionless in White announced a new song is going to be coming out on January 28th. It's called Afraid of the Dark. So they announced this during the Apocalypse Fest, their annual festival at Mohegan Arena in Pennsylvania. And he did say that I know you guys are expecting a full album this year by now, but I am saying that we are going to have a new album out next year, and the first single off the album is dropping on January 28th. And yeah, that's a lot of prep time. That's a lot of that's a big heads up for sure. I can see why fans are like, okay, we're getting a new song in 2 months. Like, oh, okay. But he did say he wanted the fans at the festival, because this is their festival and this is something that their fans are very passionate about. And it was really more like he was announcing it he wanted those fans to hear it first before anyone else. And that's just when the festival happened. It happens to be 2 months before the release date they want. So he just wanted to make sure the fans at this festival, their closest, their most diehard, loyal fans, get to hear that news live for the first time in person before it goes out in the rest of the world. But yeah, 2 months away, major rock tease for sure. Hochstetler Jackson, he wrote, Dave Mustaine talked about how there was no good metal out right now, then proceeded to drop the most ass song ever recorded. Yeah, so Megadeth recently announced they're doing a farewell tour. Obviously, we've talked about that a bunch over on TikTok and Instagram at Jesse Lee, which, by the way, go over there. You can drop questions and comments or whatever for next week's episode as well, because I do a little call every week on there, every Sunday usually, to get your opinions, get your hot takes, pull them in for next week's episode. So you can go do that over there. But yeah, we've been talking a bunch over there on TikTok and Instagram. Also, that's where you can get the up to the minute news. Obviously this podcast is more of a weekly hangout where we kind of recap things. But if you want to know what's happening as it's happening, you gotta follow me on the socials. Anyway, Megadeth recently announced they're doing that farewell tour. It could last anywhere between 3 to 5 years easily, Dave Mustaine said. And then in that same interview, he was asked if he felt like he was leaving metal in safe hands when they go. And his response was, according to Metal Hammer, they said this is Kerrang! Magazine this interview is with. According to Kerrang! Magazine, he shook his head and said, how long has it been since you heard an album like Nevermind or Appetite for Destruction or Rust in Peace or Master of Puppets? You don't hear records like that anymore. You get maybe one good song on a record now, and people are so used to skipping tracks. That saddens me because there are a lot of our songs where if you listen to them multiple times, you hear there's a lot more to them. And I was more surprised that he called out Master of Puppets in that response to being, of the greatest songs greatest albums the last 30 years. And obviously there's been a ton of great metal albums since Master of Puppets. There's been a ton of great rock albums since Nevermind. I don't know if maybe this was just in something was lost here since it was a text interview. We didn't actually get to hear Dave say it. I don't know if maybe he was just trying to say that people aren't listening to full albums anymore, so the songs, there's a lot of filler on albums. I don't know. I don't exactly. It does sound kind of like a old man yells at clouds kind of comment, unfortunately. And then right after he makes that statement, he drops this song "I Don't Care," which, listen, I've said it before. I don't listen to Megadeth for the lyrics. Okay, sometimes the lyrics are pretty solid, but generally overall, I'm not listening to Megadeth for Dave Mustaine's lyrics. I like the riffs. I like the melody. I'm not usually listening to the words as much, or that's not the reason I'm listening to them. And I know these ones are being criticized pretty heavily by fans for being an extra level of corny. They take the corn factor up to Cobb levels. And, it is a great send-off for this last album. It is great because of the song "I Don't Care." It's just him saying, "I don't care." And it's kind of like, okay, we're done. The band's done. We're calling it quits. I don't care anymore. I'm about to say some wild shit. I'm about to go nuclear on some people. I hope that's what he means by this. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm up to here with all the jokes, with all the Metallica nonsense. I'm up to here with all the large jokes about me. Like, I am ready to just let it all out. The other day he did an interview, said that he wants to play their last show in space. Not on some comet or anything like that. He wants to do a last gig on the moon, which is, I'm pretty sure, impossible. I don't think you can play on the moon. There's no sound or anything. I don't know how that would work, but he's just saying shit now. He's just saying things now. And I love it. I am here for this Dave Mustaine farewell ride. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you like the song or not, because he doesn't care. That's the best part about it. It doesn't matter if you like Dave Mustaine, if you like Megadeth, if you like this last song. It doesn't matter because he doesn't care. So there's some other things he doesn't care about, according to the song. He doesn't care if you're getting high. He doesn't care when the truth is a lie, which I feel you should care when people are lying to you, right? He doesn't care when the rope gets tight. He doesn't care if you live or die. He doesn't care what the headline said. He doesn't care if all hope is dead. It's dark. Mostly, though, he does not care if he's not your class. He does not care. You can kiss his ass. And that's straight from the Mustaines, from the Bible Mustaine himself. So, yeah. Brewer, Bored Dad Workshop, that more artists should mandate face value exchange when using Ticketmaster. I agree. I 100% believe bands should be using this face value exchange for what this is basically means when bands sell tickets on Ticketmaster and a fan buys them. If they want to resell them, like they can't go to the show or something happened, they want to get rid of their tickets, they have to sell them on the fair value exchange system, where it basically just means they can only sell them for the price they paid for them. They can't scalp them and jack them up any higher. Now, this does cause issues logistically sometimes where, you can't transfer tickets this way. You can't just transfer them to a friend. So maybe if you're that ticket buying friend in your group, if you're the one in charge of buying tickets for your friend group, you have to be there to get all your friends in. If you buy them if you buy them for a tour that's utilizing this face value exchange system, because you can't just transfer them to your buddy. So yeah, that logistically is kind of I'm sure a nightmare for some people. But Yeah, I do agree. I feel like more bands should be utilizing this. It would be great. It is not entirely up to the artists though, and the bands. A lot of times, it's well, first of all the venues on the tour, all the venues and promoters have to agree to use this. If even one venue does not agree to use it, I believe Ticketmaster can't enact the fair value or the exchange value system. Sorry, face value exchange system. Call it the FVE for short. I believe that's true. I'm not 100% positive about that. And I'm sure also the promoters are making some money on the resale market as well. There might even be some artists getting kickbacks or at least some kind of incentive to not use this because, again, I don't know for certain this is happening, but obviously with the resale market being so huge, somebody's making money from this. It's not just the scalpers and the bots. There's other people behind the scenes are absolutely there's no way there's not. So yeah, that on top of, like I said, just logistical issues this might cause using this system for the different promoters and venues, and then just like people in general who want to transfer tickets. There's a few reasons why artists might not be using it. And it is not entirely up to them sometimes, but I do believe every band and artist that is able to use the face value exchange system should be using it. I got Format tickets. The band The Format's coming to Cleveland, and I got them. They're doing a small gig show, so a small club show, and I got them on the platform was Ticket Web. It wasn't even a Ticketmaster show, and I got my pre-sale code, and I maybe could have gotten guest list for this. I'm a very important person in the music industry. Obviously, I could have maybe gotten guest list, but I want to make sure I got to this show. I want to make sure I got in, so I bought tickets like a good civilian. I bought tickets, and I was surprised, man. I put in my pre-sale code. I got in there, bought tickets with no issue, no queue, nothing like that. I paid $70 for 2 tickets, which sounds a lot in 90s standards, but nowadays 2 tickets to any show for $70 is pretty solid. I know this isn't a huge band. I know the Format's not a massive band. I know this isn't an arena show. This is different levels. It's a club show, but still, I was very pleasantly surprised by how easy of experience it was to get those tickets. I wish more bands utilized that platform. Something else I wish more bands would do is start selling their tickets at like 6 p.m. instead of when a tour goes on sale. It shouldn't go on sale at 10 a.m. at noon when people are at work. When people have things going on. You don't want to be at work half-assing your job because you're trying not to lose your spot in the queue, right? I was at Chipotle the other day trying to get lunch, and this dude scooping the chicken into the bowl, he started dropping all over the place because he's looking down on his phone to make sure he doesn't lose a spot in line and get sleep token tickets. And that didn't happen, but it could. And of course, if it did happen, I would, if it did happen, I'd be like, hey, you that's more important. My burrito bowl can wait. You got to get those tickets to worship. I totally understand. But I'm just saying, most people have jobs during the day, and they can't be sitting in queues for hours for tickets. Why don't you just put them on sale at 6 p.m., right? When everyone's at home, around dinner time, when people are boiling up some noodles for mac and cheese, then they can be in line on queue getting their tickets. Nicole182 on Instagram said, the people making fun of Youngblood for not taking care of his health/voice should learn to leave hating in the past for their New Year's resolution because it's not a good look. Yeah, Youngblood quietly dropped off of Limp Bizkit's Latin America tour, and he was replaced by Bullet for My Valentine. And at the time, Youngblood just posted on his Instagram fan channel, the little chat channel, he said, I will explain. It's something to do with my health. Please just give me a couple days. I love you all eternally. And people were commenting like, holy upgrade. And this is even better now. Now I definitely want to go to these shows. Is there a problem with his auto-tune? Is that why he dropped off? Which is not nice things to say when somebody is obviously not feeling good, whether or not they have a tummy ache or something more serious. It doesn't matter. You don't need to tease people when they're not doing well. That's not nice. He did follow up, and he said a couple days later he canceled his entire tour, unfortunately. There wasn't a lot of the tour left. I believe there's only a handful of dates left of the U.S. tour. But he canceled the remaining dates and said, this year has been truly unbelievable, and I feel so lucky and honored from everything that has happened. This week when I got home off the road and I went in for some tests to have done, like I usually do, and my voice and blood tests have raised some concerns. I have been ordered by my doctor to take a break from touring until the end of the year. So he offered all the U.S. ticket holders are going to get refunds. And then also he said if you sign up with an address at the link, he's going to send you a gift. I don't know what that gift is, but he's trying. He's trying to do something to make it happen. And yeah, it looks like the dates they canceled were Philadelphia, Cleveland, Washington, Mexico City, and then of course the Latin American tour. And listen, no artist likes to cancel shows. No artist wants to cancel a tour, and especially something that's clearly a health related issue. It's not just doing this because he's sad. It's not like, oh, I'm not feeling it. Vibes are off. I don't want to go on tour. Like there's obviously a medical issue here. Yeah. So sending good vibes to Youngblood. Hope he gets better. Hope he can make up those shows for fans. I'm sure they want to see him. Mark Bellows said Matt kept Adam's seat warm, but he's back now, so he needs to leave. I'm assuming you're talking about Matt Walsh from 3 Days Grace and Adam Ganche from 3 Days Grace. And I very much disagree, sir. I very much disagree, Mark. I saw 3 Days Grace live with Adam and Matt, and it's awesome. They sound great together. They really work well together. They sing each other's songs. I think it's a great combination. And honestly, I feel like having them both there has just hyped this whole thing up even more. If they would have just gotten rid of Matt and brought back Adam and just did the tour with Adam, like, yeah, sure, it would have been exciting for Adam to be back in the band. But there's a lot of people that love 3 Days Grace songs with Matt on them. And you get the best of both worlds now. I mean, why would you want just one? I mean, this is like going to Taco Bell after your show and then hitting the McDonald's drive-thru for some French fries. Like, you don't need both, but it's awesome, right? I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. Floofy Stitch Angel said, just got back from Warped, legs killing me, almost got in a circle pit while I was crowd surfing, and got karate chopped by some dude at the Attila pit. My mouth has some blood after Attila, but I'm good. Damn, I'm glad to hear you're good. And people are doing karate in the pit, huh? Like what kind of, like, to what level? What degree belts are in this pit, I wonder? Benjamin Kelk said, crowd surfers ruin the shows. I didn't pay to watch behind me for you because you want to crowd surf. I paid to watch the show on stage. I'll die on this hill. While I'm at it, fuck karate in the pit. Who is doing all this karate in the pits? I mean, I've been to a lot of shows. I feel like I don't see very much karate. I don't see very much martial arts happening in general at shows. I mean, were both these at one show? Was there a dojo, a local dojo that let out early around the time this concert started or something? The Pop Punk Dad 182 said the lack of toilet paper at Warped Tour was shitty. Nice play on words there. That is a bummer. If I actually heard a couple people complain about overall, everyone seemed to be pretty positive about their experience with Warped Tour in Orlando this past weekend. But I did see a couple complaints about the bathroom situation, which is, again, shitty. And it is unfortunate if you had to drop a number 2 at a really any venue, any public space large like that. Dropping a 2 is not the greatest. I mean, if you're making brown at Walmart or something like that, where it's a little low pressure situation, that's not as bad. But man, a porta potty dump out is not ideal, especially on a hot day. It was just cooking in there. Ugh, man. And if you don't have toilet paper on top of it, like, what do you do? Actually, I need to follow up with the Pop Punk Dad 182. You say the lack of toilet paper was shitty, so does that mean you were caught without toilet paper? And if that's the case, what did you do? What happened? I need to know more. Hex HDZ said the return of Nick Nocturnal. No question, just says the return of Nick Nocturnal. And that's all you need. I think, yes, clap, celebrate it. We need to celebrate the return of Nick Nocturnal. He's back. He took a little hiatus there for about 6 months. Came back with a brand new song called Collapse, which is pretty cool. It's like a dancey electronic deathcore song. Very cool stuff. And also he made a video announced that he's coming back to content creation. So I have competition now. I have to somebody else have to fight on the internet for attention. No, I'm actually, of course, I love Nick. He's been on the podcast before. I'm super happy he's doing well mentally and he's ready to come back to it. And I don't fear more people watching his stuff than mine. It's no big deal. Again, like I've said in the past, this goes for bands and artists and also content creators as well. I feel like a high tide raises all ships. And Nick Nocturnal is absolutely a high tide, my friend. He's a fantastic individual, makes great stuff. Jonathan Stone said, metalcore is the new butt rock. I would agree with that, actually. Yeah, and butt rock still exists. There are still bands making that hard rock post-grunge sound. There's still bands doing it, but metalcore is sort of the dominant hard rock sound, I feel like, at the moment. And yeah, I guess you could call it the new butt rock. And you know what? Butt rock is awesome. I love butt rock, and I love metalcore. So I don't know if this is meant to be an insult or not, but I am not taking it as such. STG TMC said, if The Devil Wears Prada made Plagues Part 2, people would be complaining. Yeah, The Devil Wears Prada dropped a new album, Flowers, last week. They were just on the podcast talking about it. And one of the things we chatted about was how the new album is it's not as heavy as some of their older stuff. I mean, the band's been around for 2 decades. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary this year, and they're not making stuff that sounds like the heavy MySpace era Devil Wears Prada. They're making more of the newer butt rock, quote unquote, if you will. And some people are bitching. They don't like the change in sound. And yeah, I feel like it'd go the other way too. If the band made the exact same album they made years ago, people have been complaining that they're not evolving, they're not changing the sound enough. So I do agree. You can't please anybody, or you can't please everybody. So you can't really dictate your art based on the comment section. And that's something the band says in the interview. Again, that's up on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. If you want to go check out the full interview with those guys, it's a good chat with Jeremy and Mike from the band. And speaking of, I do have a interview with Nothing Nowhere coming up on Friday. So stick around for that one. I mean, stick around. I mean, yes, don't move for the next few days. Stay right here on the channel. You don't want to miss it when I upload it. All right, a few more questions here. These are not related to music, really. So that's why I put them at the end. So feel free to log off now if you don't want to hear some non-music stuff. But Hunter Kimball said, how many calories do you eat in a day, Jim Bro? Don't know if I should be eating more. I do not track at the moment. For a while, I was doing, I think it was 2,400 calories a month or month. Jesus, I would have died. I would have been so skinny. 2,400 calories a day when I was trying to bulk up a little bit. And honestly, that probably wasn't enough. I wasn't really seeing as much gains as I would have liked to. So I probably needed to bulk up a little, or probably need to add a little bit more to that. If I'm trying to like really lean out, I'm down to 2,000, maybe even 1,900. But I did that one time. I did a cut one time. I did a cut one time, got the abs ish, took the photo, celebrated, and then ate a burger, never looked back. But yeah, right now I'm not counting calories. I'm kind of worried about protein more than anything. I'm just trying to hit some protein goals. I'm trying to hit 150 grams of protein every day. However I get there is optional, really, as far as like how many calories it takes to get there. And if I start to feel like I'm plateauing or not progressing the way I want, I'll adjust it from there. Like if I feel like I'm, if I feel like a little flabby, maybe, if I feel like I've got a little bit too much extra, maybe I back it down at some point. Or if I feel like I'm not, again, putting on enough muscle, I'll try adding more to it. It's very fluid over here. It's, I'm not competing in any bodybuilding shows or anything like that, so I don't really worry about it too much. But I do try to, like I said, just hit protein goals and not eat like an asshole in general. I just try not to eat as much processed food as possible. I try to eat as much natural foods as available to me. But I'm a dad with a kid and a very blossoming podcast, so I have a lot going on. So of course I eat some protein bars every now and then. I don't know what this says. Uncle then of the Sky, I believe. Do you think Logan Paul is a future world champion? Yeah, absolutely. Logan Paul will definitely be a world champion at some point. I mean, hate him or like him or hate him, Logan Paul is a great WWE wrestler. He's got so much heat from the crowd. He's a great heel. He's just a perfect bad guy. He's great on the mic. And he actually is a really good wrestler. I mean, you can see him in the ring doing some moves that most people are not able to do. And I don't know, he's really entertaining. And yeah, he's obviously got the fan base behind him as well. Like, of course, the WWE crowd hates him for the most part, but his fans, there are plenty, they're super behind him. So yeah, I think there's only a matter of time before they make Logan Paul the world champion. Another wrestling related question here, because I am a huge wrestling nerd. Who do you think will be John Cena's final opponent? Who do I think will be John Cena's opponent, or who do I want John Cena's final opponent to be? And I think the final opponent is going to be Gunther. I think Gunther is going to be the one to end John Cena's career, just like he ended Bill Goldberg's career. And I think they're just setting up Gunther to be just a massive powerhouse, like just a venomous heel in the wrestling world. As far as who do I want to be his final opponent, I mean, I would love to see John Cena versus Edge. I think that's something a lot of wrestling fans would love to see. John Cena versus Edge would be a great final opponent, but I don't think it's happening. As far as I know, Edge is still under contract with AEW, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. If I'm being real crazy, Stone Cold Steve Austin, because why the fuck not? It makes zero sense to have Stone Cold Steve Austin come fight John Cena for his last match, but I would be so here for it. I mean, I got the Stone Cold tattoo and everything. I'm a massive Austin fan. He's my unproblematic hero. So yeah, Stone Cold versus John Cena, which makes, again, zero sense whatsoever, but it would be so cool. And that's gonna be the last question for the podcast this week. Again, if you have anything for next week, please drop in the comment section of YouTube and Spotify, and find me at Jesse Lee on TikTok and Instagram, and bang your head on that follow button. That's how you become a full-fledged member of the Jesse Legion. All right, take it easy now, and bye-bye.
Jesse Lee Show.